Good evening, brethren. Tonight we're going to go over a quick study about are there any Gentiles in our Seventh-day Adventist church? The reason why we're having this study tonight is because on Facebook lately we've been having a lot of spiritual hard-hitting debates. I mean, they are really getting serious. Half of the participants are saying that, yes, the 144,000 are going to be sealed from the church, and those are Israelites, as mentioned in Revelation 7. And that those with will be Gentiles in the church that go with them. So in other words, the bottom line, according to them, is that there's going to be more than 144,000 sealed at the church judgment, Ezekiel 9. So we wanted to bring out some references from the Spirit of Prophecy and the Rod to kind of get to the bottom of this and see where inspiration lies. You know, where does inspiration stand in this issue? Okay, we have prayed, and we hope that you do the same. Please pause the video and pray that the Spirit of Truth will guide you into all truth. Okay, let us begin. In the first reference, we see that the rod unfolds the 144,000 issue from several different angles. And this is one of the key angles, is the understanding of the Israelites and Gentiles in the church. So we are very excited to bring the study together tonight for you, so that you can, in the closet of prayer, be grounded in this message, in this part of the message, and discuss this and hold firm with these infiltrators that want to tell us that there's going to be a lot more than 144,000 sealed from the church. Okay, the first quote is from the Spirit Prophecy, and this is well known to many of us. In fact, it's one of the first quotes that I learned about the church being called the Israel of today by inspiration. Okay, let's go to the next quote. Again, it says the strength of Israel, so it makes mention of the fact that the church is Israel. It doesn't say a mixture of Gentiles and Israel. It just mentions Israel. So we see that this is very specific. Okay, let's start showing some of the rod references. This first one shows that the church is Israelites. And there's two separations. Again, we see that the 144,000 are labeled Israelites. We also see that God is to deal with the entire body, which means all the church. And those who escape are Israel, the 144,000. This is pretty clear, brethren. Once again, we see another rod reference that those who escape are the Israel, the 144,000. Again, we want to point out the clarity of the statement. We see that it's a glorious promise of those that shall escape. And you notice the rod is specific here. It doesn't say those that escape, Israel and some Gentiles, the 44,000 and those with. It doesn't say that. It says they shall escape Israel, the 144,000. That is who escapes. Furthermore, it says he who is left in Zion. 144,000 is all that's left from the church. Again, we see some more quotes that those escape the slain are the first fruits. And here it calls it the Jacobites. So we're seeing a preponderance of evidence here, brethren. It's starting to really pack up that this is the church. The Israelites are the church, not the Gentiles and the Israelites. The Israelites are the church. Now, the Lord is going to do the following. He will say, this one and that one were born in her. The Most High himself will establish her. When he registers the peoples, the Lord will record this one was born there. Again, we see the Lord establishing that the members of the church will be identified where they come from. Here again is another a rod reference that shows that explaining that we cannot be a Jew or Gentile unless the real seed comes from our forefathers. Okay, now we're going to get to the main thrust of this study tonight, and that is that we want to show you beyond doubt that there cannot be any Gentiles in our church. Let's look at this first quote. Timely Greens, Volume 1, number 37, page 11. We are not to conclude that the Jews are the only descendants of Abraham. Those who are fortunate enough to have this revelation brought to them are the people. There is no other safe conclusion if God causes the prophecies to be written, sealed, and then unsealed at his will at the time appointed. The Jews, therefore, are not the only descendants of Abraham. So, anyone that has this revelation brought to them in the church has to be from the lineage of the blood of Abraham, specifically the Jacobites. This is what this verse tells us. Very powerful and very far-reaching. Now, when we couple that with this verse, we are now on to some very powerful revelations. Just as soon as we as a domination awake to the fact that many nations shall be joined to the Lord and be his people, just that soon will the theory of the only first fruits die out. And just as soon as this message reaches every church member, just that soon will the purification take place. Boy, got it. Now, so we see that the message, those that receive the message are of the lineage of Jacob, of the Jews. And who receives this message? All members of the church before the close of probation. So we just need to add up 1 and 2, brethren. The last verse, the reference, and this verse and the reference. Does that show a possibility of Gentiles being in our church? Of course not. Because everyone in the church will have a chance to hear this message. That means that everyone in the church will be of the bloodline of the Jacobites. There cannot be any Gentiles, therefore. Okay, so our summary. Those who have this message revealed to them are of Jewish bloodline. That means you and I are not a Gentile. We're one of the church members, and we have this message that eliminates us as being a Gentile. All SDA will be reached with this message before the end of probation, showing that this message will be revealed to all in the church. None will have an excuse. It is clear anyone who has or will have the rod revealed to them, which is all the SDA church members before Ezekiel 9, are the people, Jewish descendants. Of course, as we know, some Gentiles from outside the church, after the church judgment, will go with them. These, along with the faithful SDA who have died, such as Sister White and Brother Hodoff, and are raised, are also those with the rod speaks about. So that's basically our summary today of our study. We wanted to make it short and simple, but yet it's very powerful, brethren, that when we add up all the different parts of the message, it's clear there cannot be any Gentiles in our church. So we want to make sure that this is understood amongst us as a people, that we may be well grounded when this issue comes up. We again thank you for listening today, and hope you've been blessed. And we look forward to our next study soon. May God be with you.